Mr. Chairman, I rise today in strong support of the REINS Act. For far too long, Congress has allowed unelected federal bureaucrats to take responsibility for the policymaking in this town. Too often, these unaccountable individuals in Washington make decisions that affect the daily lives of Western Pennsylvanians with little regard for how they impact one's livelihood and family. For instance, we learned a month ago in a Supreme Court decision that one agency, the EPA, failed to appropriately consider the cost and benefits of its MATS proposal, which is estimated to cost $9 billion with a benefit of only $4 to $6 million. Solid middle-class jobs, like those in some parts of the energy industry and my district, are being regulated right out of existence. More broadly, consider that in 2015, thus far, more than 150 regulations have been finalized, with total costs exceeding $60 billion and more than 10 million hours of paperwork. It is this unaccountable culture that hinders the very job creation and economic growth we need in cities and towns across America that will provide opportunities for Americans to get back in the game and to get this country back on track. But there's a bigger issue here, Mr. Chairman, and that is what's represented in this bill. It goes to the constitutional structure of our government, where we're supposed to have an executive branch that's supposed to enforce the law, a legislative branch that makes the law, and the judicial branch that adjudicates the law. For close to 100 years, this body has ceded responsibility for making laws to the executive branch. This bill is a start towards restoring the proper structure of government accountability. When regulations are passed that people don't agree with, there's no way to hold those regulators accountable. But if Congress had a say, you could hold Congress accountable. This is what self-government is all about. I reflect on 34 years ago when a certain gentleman spoke on the west front of this Capitol and had these words to say. From time to time, we've been tempted to believe that society has become too complex to be managed by self-rule, that government by an elite group is superior to government for, by, and of the people. Well, if no one among us is capable of governing himself, then who among us has the capacity to govern someone else? I thank Mr. Young. I thank the committee for its work on the REINS Act. I urge my colleagues to support this bill as a means to restoring the proper constitutional structure of who's responsible for the laws that come out of this town. You would think that members of Congress would want to take credit for good regulations and protect people from bad regulations. Again, that's what this legislation does, and again, I yield back.
Gentleman yields